All right, so we got Drew's car in there. We're gonna rip the wheels off, and then we're gonna dive into the rear end and get this 8.8 lockout kit installed because I didn't record any of this on my car. All right, so to do this, you've got to remove your brake caliper. So just take it off the bracket because we got to slide the axles out. So you need a 15 millimeter. And you're gonna replace it. You're gonna take this bolt and that bolt down there. But in order to take that bolt down there, you got to remove your e-brake cable, which is fairly easy to do. I'll get down there and show you in just a second. Let me break this loose. All right, so to remove your e-brake cable, you're gonna have a clip right here, and that's gonna slide right back there. It holds the e-brake cable in. So you pull this clip, and you grab your favorite pair of vice grips, because it's easier with vice grips. Oh, I ran them in too much. Hang on, I'm doing this one-handed. Yep. You grab the vice grip.
The other side next week, so I can watch your portion of the video where you teach me how to pull this off so I can come back out.
Grab it with your vice grips. You gotta pull it to the side and slide it right on out of there. Boom. And then you just, oh yeah, yours were rusted a little bit.
They're not the cleanest.
Well, I remember we had to like beat them in there. All right, so I'm gonna grab a screwdriver and a hammer, and you just tap it on out, and it'll pull out the back. It is stuck in there pretty good, so. But then you can get to this lower bolt here, which is also a 15, and then the whole caliper just whoop. All right, after your brakes are off, climb under here. These are 13 millimeters. You take all these off. Leave your top one, but leave it loose. I've already, see? That way your cover doesn't fall off on you. Loosen up your top one, take the rest out. Some of these, if they've been redone, like me, I'll use RTV. I don't use a gasket because you see his was already leaking with the gasket. I've never had a gasket actually seal on one of these for very long. It always starts leaking down at the bottom. So another reason why I'm a big fan of RTV. But yeah, there. Now your diff cover's off. I'm gonna take this one out. Watch me drop the cover. No, because I can hold it up with one hand. There we go. Pull your cover out. And now you have access to all that. Yep, see? You used a Motorcraft gasket. Or not Motorcraft, but it's an 8.8 gasket. And it did not seal at the bottom for very long. Once you get some heat in them, like if you're doing spirited driving and stuff like he does with this car, just the ring gear moving forward, it goes this way. Well, watch what happens when I spin it. You see that? It throws oil up the back of the cover because these covers are rounded. So it throws it up the back and it hits this and then goes over the top. So it keeps everything in here lubricated. Well, what happens is when you start getting heat and stuff in these rear ends and you're doing spirited driving, it's constantly pushing fluid against this bottom seal. And once it starts getting warm and stuff, the gasket will actually start like expanding and shrinking, just like anything else when it gets hot and cold. And it'll actually start, like his bottom bolts weren't as tight as they should be, just from heat and wear. So you put RTV on there, you smash it down, you tighten them down good. Be careful, because even though they look robust, they are brittle. And trust me, pulling a snapped stud out of one of these is not fun. So we'll get in here. We got an 8mm right there. You take this 8mm bolt out, zip, and then this pin will actually slide out. You might have to tap on it or something, but it'll slide out. And once it slides out, you can get back in here. You remove this clip, and then you pull your spider gears out. And here's his clutch pack. Right here, you see them tabs? That's what we're replacing. And when it goes back together, these top gears won't be in there and the spring won't be in there. You gotta put your rod back because that keeps the axles from pushing in too far. Once you pull this out, pull the pin out, you can pop the axle in and pull the C-clips out. All right, let's get to it. All right, so we got in here. We got it all taken apart, as you see. So Drew's grabbing the villains kit, and I will show you how it goes back together. Such a handsome boy. Grandma would be proud. All right, so these are the old LSD clutches. So you have a clutch, a steel, clutch, steel. And with the spring and the other gears, that's how everything kind of works together to keep, which his clutches look good. The ones in the mock were non-existent. But, so we're also gonna be doing dual brake brackets in a minute. All right, so this is a lockout kit. They're all splined. You just drop them on there. Make sure they're all lined up the same. And then you'll have provisions like this on both sides for these tabs to go in. And what happens is, now you have all steels, so it turns the rear end into essentially a welded diff without welding. Yeah, and you can replace it later on if you want to. And then you grab this guy right here, and you just kind of tuck it right on up in there like that. Oh, I had one turn. There we go. Get on there.
There we go.
Boom, just like that.
I don't know, that looks right to me.
Might not be able to get the pin in. We'll have to slide an axle in and find out. Did you get the other ones on there?
Yeah.
And then we just, damn it.
Bobby.
Doing this one-handed with a camera. There we go.
Good.
Gotta make sure everything sits flat. There we go. All right. All right, and we slide the axles in, test fit. I think we still might end up having to pull one of those out because you still got to put the pin back in. And it is a very tight fit against the end of the axle. So we'll slide the axles in, we'll test fit it. We'll see what happens. All right, so next order of business, dual caliper brackets. You see, this is just one caliper bracket, but with some magic, we can make homemade dual caliper brackets. So essentially, we haven't taken this side off. You gotta take your dust shield off. You're not gonna be able to use it anymore. But what you do is you get 2 factory brackets. So you're gonna need 4 total. And what you do is, so we'll bolt them together so the bolt holes line up. And then we'll take and we'll cut them in half together. We bolt them on the car, we tack them. So when they're all bolted on, it'll look kind of like that, except you'll have 2 sides like this. And with them welded and they're bolted on, you can have a front caliper. So you don't necessarily have to go buy a $200 dual caliper bracket if you've got access. Yeah, I had to because So we did it on my car, but we did not take into account that it's a Mach 1 and they have Cobra brakes. So we used GT rotor, two GTs on one side. Well, the rotors are bigger. So this is actually different and stands off more. So I'm currently waiting for my brackets to come in because I don't have a brake caliper on my driver's side. So yeah, let me get the other stuff. When we get ready to cut, I'll show you what I'm talking about. All right, see, we got it bolted together. So we'll use the back for reference, and then your front one will be up here. What you do is you'll just cut it straight, and then you'll weld this piece to that piece. We'll bolt it on the car. All right, let's get to cutting. All right, and that's how to be. Bolt it up. Make sure you get them tight because you want to make sure that's how they are before you start tacking. Because once you weld it out, you'll have to cut it all back apart to try and do it again. And if you still want to run your little brake quieter pieces, this will actually slide back and line up. You got to kind of loosen it up to get to the bolts in the back here. So, got the welder. Let's throw some tacks on here. Let it cool off a little bit, and then we'll pull it off, weld it up. And then obviously you can come back and chop this off if you want. You can clean it up some. He's gonna paint it and everything, so he'll probably chop these off too. But yeah, that is a budget at home dual caliper setup. Now right now we don't have a hydro or another caliper or something, but since we were doing the rear anyway, and you have to pull the axles out to do that, you also have to pull the axles out to get this bracket off. So that's why we're kind of doing it now. That way when it goes back together, later on when we get calipers, he can just slap another caliper on, run his lines, bleed it, and he'll have a hydro. All right, let's get the welding.
Bracket or with the caliper?
Yeah.
Nice.
All right, that's it. I think Drew's gonna throw some paint on there. While he does that, I'll get the other side ready. All right, second bracket is ready to be welded up. I went ahead and cut that off, them little nipples. Yeah, that's it. And then this bracket will line back up, but you got to move it to get to these two bolts. So, and then you can put it all back together. When he gets another caliper and the rest of the hydro stuff, you just snap and we're good to go. All right, it's all done. Hey, you can't even see the bracket, but it's there. And your other caliper will sit right here. There's your bolt holes. Your other caliper will sit up front. And that is the cheap way. We paid what? $30 a piece for them brackets? 20, 15 a piece. So $30 for the pair. The car already has two on it. So you go to the junkyard, you find you another 8/8. You do a little bit of work to pull the brackets off, and you come home and make you some dual caliper brackets for 30 bucks. Well, 33 because you got to pay to get in. Drew's finishing up this side. He's welded it. Oh yeah, that's where I cut them, them little nipples off. Cut the titties off. Film me, film you, filming me. So, we'll get this side done. We'll bolt it all back together and put the axle back in. Throw the C-clip on. Clean it up with some RTV and gasket. Good to go. All right, well, we're putting the wheels back on. I got this one just sitting up there. Throw the jack under it. we're all done. That's it. Now this wheel and that wheel, they're locked together. I mean, it's a Villains 8.8 lockout kit. It's, I think, 80 or 90 bucks for the kit. And then if you ever want to put your LSD back in or anything like that, you just undo what you did, put the LSD back in, the clutch packs, and then it's a normal car again. So for the price, it's definitely worth it because, I mean, yeah, if you've got a welder, welding the diff is free other than the brake clean to clean everything. But this is reversible if you really wanted it to be. So we'll get it back on the ground and Drew can go do whatever he wants to do. I've got to get going.